It's Laura Eubanks of Design for Serenity with your succulent tip of the day and day 4. Day 4 in Oceanside. Big day. Huge. Okay, so dry stream, right? We used a yard of 1 to 3 inch Arizona river rock. We created some really interesting ledges. Having this fantastic downslope, it was so easy. So we staged big pieces of rubble into the slope to kind of slow down the water. And I still have a little bit of tweaking to do with some rubble, but this is the basic idea. This is pretty much the way it's going to go down. I was so happy with the river rock at KRC this time. It's more purple than it is sometimes. So it's very, very pretty. You can see Greg down here. He is working on installing the exterior illuminants. How many lights are we going to have, Greg?
10 to 11.
10 or 11 lights.
Or less.
Or less. Okay, that's really specific. Thank you. But we he installed a transformer in the garage and then just ran his low voltage wiring. And now he's establishing areas for lights. He has well lights going on the Dracaena Dracos. And then he's got going to have some really well-placed spots on the dry stream and some other key plants in the landscape. We are going to come by this evening if he's able to get this done and wired up. To take a look and see if they need any adjusting. So we might come by tonight after dark. We have Kevin and Nate and Mel working on irrigation, and we are not running rings around the plants in this installation. We're just doing line drip with the idea that water runs downhill. So it's going to be an easier and a kind of looser irrigation, but we are still going to have to bury all the lines tomorrow. We are also going to have to put down our 3/4 inch burgundy lava. So Cullen, our cameraman again today, and I have been taking these pieces of rubble. We got 6 to 12 inch rubble in a basket, and we have been looking for places. Okay, we've been looking for places in the landscape where it's looking particularly steep, because that 3/4 inch lava, it knits together well, but let's face it, if it's vertical or really, really sheer, it's going to run off. So we're identifying places, and that's the point behind all of the pieces of rubble that you see in the landscape. It looks really pretty, but it also serves the purpose of slowing down the rock and creating some natural retention. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. We will be, as I said, finishing up the irrigation hopefully today. Then all of these lines are going to have to be buried and stapled. Greg's got to finish the lights. Then tomorrow we have a volunteer, Leel, L-E-E-L, is coming to help. Hannah will be here tomorrow. And we are going to do everything in our power to knock it out. I'll show you my solution up here. You know, we kept this part of the lawn, so I didn't want to run the 3/4 inch burgundy right up to the edge of the lawn. You know, with the client doing the gardener doing the edging and the mowing. I thought that wouldn't really work. So I did what we always do, which is run rubble as a border instead of the plastic edging. I hate that stuff so much. This is just a lot more natural. And you know what? It works great. We have this edging between our property and our neighbors, and granted they have artificial turf, but they didn't always. And the grass really wasn't much of an issue. We have many projects where we've done this type of rubble border between our projects and the neighbor's lawn. And it's pretty easy. It's pretty easy maintenance, actually. Let's take a look up here. You can see what the guys are doing. You know, the beauty of these plants, there's lots of beauty, but they're so tough. And here in Oceanside, it's so coastal and maritime, and it never gets hot and it never gets cold. So as long as the suggestion of water is there, we're good. So, you know, if you're doing traditional perennials, you're going to have to be a lot more specific. But with succulents, we really can get away with murder when it comes to irrigation. It doesn't have to be really, really, really super specific. Take a look from this perspective. Look how steep this is. I mean, what we're gonna do, this is gonna be an area right here where that drip line is, where we will cut in some rubble to slow the 3/4 inch down, and also to help keep that drip line concealed once we bury it. So we'll get in there, and you know, looking at this from different perspectives is just amazing. I just can't even. The neighbors are now starting to come by and just stop and stare. I'm waiting for somebody to pull out a lawn chair. Colin and I got this done, this area here. We just staged a big boulder and planted some aloe vera, an avatifolia, a portulacaria. We've got a little Apache that we actually took out of the client's landscape because we just needed a little something right there. So that was just perfect. These agaves are going to get about this big within the next 5 years or so, I would say. Nate, shh. So we want to make sure that we leave room for those to grow. You can get larger, more mature specimens, but they're going to cost hundreds of dollars more. So, you know, I try to do, you know, 6 of one, half dozen of another. I you know, blow a lot of money on, you know, the big statement plants like these Dracos were super pricey. And, you know, some of my 15 gallons and the barrel cactuses are expensive. But then on other things, you know, I go a little smaller so that I can spread out and do more plants. So you know, you do you, but remember, when you're doing your own installations, try to go as big as you can. The biggest boulders that you can do, the biggest plants that you can do. That's what makes such an incredible visual impact, is the size. Starting with little teensy tiny plants can be really frustrating and disheartening. So go big or go home, folks. All right, so that's it for today. Again, enjoying all of your comments so much and your suggestions. Whoever's suggested doing you were also inspired by the Oasis nursery garden tour that I did with their big hillsides of just succulents. And, oh, you know, Waterwise has it too. We call it Succulent Mountain. And someone suggested that we just do succulents tightly packed all the way down in lieu of rocks as a stream of succulents. And yes, that would be magnifique. It would also cost more money than the national debt. So that ain't happening. But great idea. Keep them coming, you guys. I love your ideas. They simmer, they percolate, and you all are really reflected in my designs because I appreciate all of your input and I appreciate your eye and your take on things too. So be sure to leave me a comment, ask me a question. Happy to answer it. We have another night here and then we'll go home tomorrow after work. This has been Laura Eubanks reporting for Cullen, Greg, Mel, Kevin, Nate, and your succulent tip of the day and day 4 in Oceanside. Bye, guys. Dry streams going in Oceanside.